Well, funny enough, I had done a story with Troy Dunn back in 2002 when I was a producer at CBS News for 48 Hours. And we stayed in touch. And about 3 or 4 years ago, he started mentioning to me this story about how women were coming to him seeking help, trying to search for children that they say were given up under the dynamics of a forced adoption. I was very interested. At the time, 3 or 4 years ago, I was actually at ESPN, and I looked for a sports angle. I looked for a professional athlete, someone like that, where the story might fit. Struck out, sorry to use the sports terminology, and basically last October, he came to me with a recording of between he and a mother who was searching for a child desperately. She was terminally ill. And he played it, well, he sent it to me and I listened to it. And it was jaw-dropping. And so basically I said, you know, I've got to do this story. I really appreciate the lead. Let me poke around, see what we can do. And so long story short, I started looking around. There was very little out there, which is always the most exciting thing as a producer, as a journalist, is to see a story that hasn't really been told. So adoption's a very broad topic of discussion, a lot of gray areas, even today. But what I was most interested in was these stories from the 50s, 60s, and 70s. And what we had found, again, with some help from our folks in research, is that a lot of these accounts of women where they really felt coerced, manipulated, duped into handing their children over for adoption, primarily against their will, was happening in countries, I don't want to say where they're a strong Catholic or a large Catholic population, but certainly coincidentally, Australia, the UK, both Scotland, Ireland, and in Britain. Canada and the United States seem to be ground zero for these stories. And a little bit of that came from Troy. Troy said to me, you know, these aren't stories just from a woman from Sheboygan or from Los Angeles. I'm getting calls from around the world. So we knew that it was broader than just a domestic story. And so we focused primarily on Australia, where they seem to be ahead of the curve and really doing something about it, and North America, both Canada and in the United States. So the fact of the matter is, the difference is the stories that we're hearing are ones that the treatment goes beyond the sign of the times, that it was truly horrific accounts of name calling and physical and psychological abuse.